Hello everyone, my name is ToolSin. Welcome to the cnft.tools Discord server. We are joined by the creator of the Thugly Ducklings this evening. I've been quite looking forward to this one. Seems to have some great humour behind it. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, we can move on from there.
Sure. Yeah, my original Twitter handle is Mike's into crypto. Um, I've been in the Cardano NFT space for over a year now. I've amassed probably over 3,000 NFTs at this point.
Oh Jesus!
And yeah, yeah, for sure. And kind of while holding all of these NFTs, I really was itching to do things with them. And the more I spent time in the Cardano ecosystem, in the Cardano space, in the NFT space, the more I wanted to share my ideas and my thoughts and see how a project can be built out from that. And thus, Thugly Ducklings was born. It's really born around January, but I didn't really have the guts to really follow through with it all until I just kind of said, screw it. um, and we've come so far. I feel so happy about the amount of followers we've had, and just the project's growth in general. It's really given me a reason to keep moving forward and a reason to keep doing this stuff. But so Thugly Ducklings, it's a utility first PFP NFT project aiming to build a social based idle game. So what I mean by utility first is instead of thinking game first and deciphering how NFTs then fit into the picture, we said, what utility currently exists on Cardano and how do we turn that utility into a gamified experience? This way we spend more time developing a fun, rewarding ecosystem and less time bridging gaps trying to figure out how, the certain things that you hold make sense in what we're trying to build. We also want it to be a PFP project because we want it to be rewarding for those who are simply NFT collectors. We believe in PFPs that not only stand out but are thematic and relatable. We also aim to achieve a PFP that looks good in any random generation, but also still provides variety and uniqueness. In essence, I really like to create PFPs that personify you. Obviously, just as a ugly duck. um, and the project is also very social based. At the foundation of every project is its community. So we intend to layer social based elements into our ecosystem to make your experience more community centric. Sharing progress, boasting accomplishments, teaming up with others keeps the community engaged. And one of the best parts of playing a game is knowing that others are playing too. And then, of course, it's an idle game. So we intend to make a gamified experience similar to the best example I can give you is Farmville. So
Okay.
back in Facebook's heyday, um,
Yeah,
Farmville
we all
was
still have
very, very
nightmares
popular.
about that.
Yeah. For me, I was not a very big Farmville player. I was more of the persuasion to block anyone who sent me the notifications.
Oh hell
But
yes!
but it's the closest comparison I can think of as far as Thugly Ducklings goes and its gamified experience. Is that it's a click and wait game. So it's a click and wait functionality that enables you to progress through the game just by simply interacting with the game. And that's just kind of my little 2 to 3 minute pitch there.
Right. Well, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is that you've said all this amazing stuff about, PFP and community and everything like that. But what sold me on doing this AMA with you was your Twitter banner, which, yes, it's got the PFP in there, looks good and everything like that. But the bit that grabbed me was cute ducks, bad fucking intentions.
Yeah. So with the idea behind the project, or at least the idea of what the NFT project was going to be about, um, I wanted to create something that was thematic. And as you know, or as I kind of already doxed, I do improv for a living.
Oh,
I
okay.
do improv comedy, and I'm also a marketer in real life. So one of my favorite things to do is puns. And I thought that this would be a really, really cool way to kind of engage everyone with, something cute, but something that's also cool at the same time. And henceforth, that's why I came up with Thugly Ducklings.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love the concept. It's something that, as far as I'm aware, hasn't been done to death yet. I've not seen another, Fugly Ducklings or anything like that. I believe so, it's definitely a first on Cardano. I can't say whether it's ever been anything similar has been done on ETH or Solana or anything like that because I have no interest
I
in
hope
looking.
not.
But it does seem refreshingly original already,
Uh,
which is nice to see at this point.
I, Thank you for saying that, because behind this idea, that's really where I wanted it to come from. When you've collected over 3,000 NFTs and a lot of like what you have has a lot of the same traits and things,
Yeah,
and like you got a 10K collection, and a lot of the same things that you see are done over and over and over again, between laser eyes or wings or things like that. Like you want to create something that's different. It's got its own vibe. It's got its own originality, and that's essentially where I had most of my inspiration. Like I didn't want I wanted to keep things thematic just because um, I had a weird attachment to my NFTs. That sometimes when they came out and when I saw what it looked like after it was generated, I was like, man, this sucks. Like because like some people, like they'll draw things that are just completely off the rails and non-thematic to each other, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
they're just random, right? You know what I mean? Like you might get a cowboy hat, and then all of a sudden you're wearing an army helmet, and like there are just
yeah,
a
and
ton of
ballerina
different.
shoes and
Sure, sure, and I don't know if it's an indictment of myself to say that uh, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't like my NFT with an army helmet and ballerina shoes, right? Like, you know what I mean? Because it just didn't like it. The traits didn't go together, right? Like, and one thing for me is that I really, really enjoy the art. So, like, when something does work well together, you're like, "Ooh, I love it! It looks so good," and you never
yeah,
want to trade it, right? Like, you never want to sell that thing. At the end of the day, as a project, I never want to give out NFTs that don't look good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or the
yeah, yeah,
traits
for sure.
are so different from each other that people go, I don't really like this one. You know what I mean? So it was very important to me to have it thematic and have them all stay within the same theme.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. I mean, I'm somebody I mean, there's a few things that I appreciate about NFTs more than some. One of them is backgrounds. Funnily enough, I love a good background because I think the background is one of those things that ties all the different NFTs together. They're not generally seen as that, but without the background, that's the setting and where they're all coming from and the environment that they're in. Plain backgrounds. They're in some cases they're definitely the way to go. But I do like a well drawn background with all the detail and everything like that involves. And like the other thing I like is the combos of traits that go together. So
Right.
not necessarily one offs, but say you might want like a dual wielding duckling. Say you got an Uzi in one hand and you got like a pistol in another, and then he can have the army helmet and the army boots and everything like that. And he while he's not a one off, he's a complete NFT if that makes sense.
Yeah, it feels complete for sure. Like if you got an NFT with a chef's hat, like I'd want the complete outfit, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just items that traditionally go together. It's items that look good together as well. I mean, I don't want to talk about other projects too much, but there was a project that released a couple of days ago, Raccoon Syndicate. I wasn't able to get whitelist because I'm lazy, so I went and bought one off the secondary market, and the one that I chose was one with it's got the gold effect on on the dress, and it's got like a bit of wheat hanging out of his mouth. But the colours just
Yeah.
the golden colour just matched up so perfectly and beautifully. I kind of had to have it. It was like I can't leave that there on the floor. It just looks too good. I mean, it's like
Absolutely not.
rank 25 million or whatever it was, but I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like no, I like that one. Like that. That's just a really good NFT, and I wanted it, so I got it.
Right. Yeah, so like the project that I'm building and what Thugly Ducklings is really all about is kind of creating that personal attachment to your NFT. Because that's kind of where I'm at. Is that usually if I don a PFP of an NFT, it's got to be something that either speaks to me in art, or it's got to be something that like speaks to me because I'm intrinsically attached to it.
Yeah,
Um, I just feel like a lot of times in the space, people don certain PFPs because of its monetary value. You know what I mean? Like if the project floor of a project, all of a sudden tanked or something like that, you probably wouldn't see that many of those NFTs anymore, right? Like,
yeah,
or
yeah,
people using them as their PFPs and stuff. And for me, I'm kind of just in this mode of like, well, if something looks awesome, it looks awesome, right? Like
yeah.
you can't deny it. Or if you've built some attachment or relationship to it, you don't want to sell it, or you'd never want to like, remove it as your PFP. And essentially, that's kind of what my thought was behind, doing Thugly Ducklings and having this project was that, we want to be able to create a personal attachment to your NFT, and we want, you to kind of grow with them. That way, you're hard pressed to ever let them go.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
We,
something I like to get done fairly early on, just for YouTube purposes, is YouTube attention spans are like. I do like to get the big information out fairly early. So when are you minting and how much?
so originally we were minting for this Friday, but we have suspended our mint dates indefinitely. Um, Originally, we had set it for this because I like to kind of set goals for myself, whether officially or unofficially. So it helps keep my pedal to the metal, help keep my foot on the gas. But I started to think about like that approach, and maybe I should reconsider it. So right now we're just not even thinking about mint at all, just because we really like that we're growing, and we're growing at a pretty fast rate. And I'm doing spaces almost like every day now. um, we're growing it pretty substantially, and we're having a couple of like community events, and there's a bunch of things going on. And so we just kind of really like where we're at, and I think that there's more to be said about the community that we're building and the people that are excited for the project. And that way, I feel like we can do a lot more with generating interest for the project.
Nice. So how many ducklings will there be in the project when you eventually release?
4,444.
Ah, that's a very nice round number there. How did you come up with that number? Was it just,
Um,
was it because you need that amount of funds to complete your plans, or that's the size community you're hoping to attract, or what's the thinking behind it?
well, a little bit of both. Well, actually, it's none of the first, but the idea behind the mint supply is that I think the era of 10K projects is essentially gone. Unless
Yeah,
there's that just blows everyone under the water, right? So like, um, I think that 4,000 was a good number, and I'd like to see the project grow to that size. We'll see if we get there, and if I would make changes to said supply at all before mint, just to kind of calibrate it to the interests of those who care about the project. But that's kind of the cool part about this is I built this project going into it knowing what needs to be done fiscally, financially, that sort of thing too. And that's just kind of me and my MO, because I spent so much time in the NFT space. And one thing that I fell prey to very often with projects was not asking about what it is going to require in order to meet the goals that you're going to reach as a project. And so for me, it was very important, and it became very important to figure out, like, how much money am I going to need in order to make this ecosystem run and make this ecosystem go, and then like how much time is that going to take, and when can we deliver that sort of thing. So I always felt like that type of stuff was important. And so with the supply of 4,444, the project can continually succeed off of a fourth of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, you said you've been in the space for a little over a year now. What was it
Mm-hmm.
that brought you to crypto in the first place?
I was a GameStop and AMC degen. uh,
There's a few of them around here, I'll tell you that.
no, well, I don't know. Yeah, now I can't take that one back. So I mean, I had a Robinhood account, obviously, and I was just kind of messing around with stocks because I got bored of gambling on like DraftKings and stuff,
Fair.
and I was like, might as well mess with some stocks. We'll see what happens. And like, I started having a growing interest in trading and whatnot, and Robinhood obviously has a couple of cryptos on their website, and I started dabbling into more crypto there. And it wasn't until I was like, man, stocks are kind of lame once you start moving over towards crypto, and that's kind of what got you being like, oh, you know what, I'm never going to do that ever again, and I'll just go over here and do this, and that's kind of where I found Cardano, because I was like, oh, well, like, Cardano's really cheap, and that might be something I'd really like to stack up on, and see what happens to it. And then I like started reading more about it and the community and being on Twitter, and it was like, oh, like, Cardano has these NFTs now, and that was a thing where I was like, I don't even know what this is, but I'm going to take a look, and that's kind of where we kind of jump started from. And in that first 3 to 4 months, like, those were really lucrative for me. Well, I think it was lucrative for anyone who was around there at that
Pretty
time.
much,
Uh,
pretty much. I managed to avoid making any money during that time, but I was one of the very few that managed to do that.
yeah, well, it's like, just because, like, I mean, think about how far the space has come now at this
Oh
point.
God, yeah.
Crazy.
What?
Like, I minted dead pixels. I minted clays. Like, the way that these projects have moved, and the way 10K collections were selling out way back in like last year around July and August, it was insane. So there's just a lot of movement in the space, and I got caught up in all of it, and I just couldn't peel myself away. And Cardano just does something beautiful to you, where the longer you're in it, the longer you're engaging in the community, the longer you're talking to people, the more you want to contribute. So here I am.
Yeah, I mean the Cardano community as a whole is so welcoming and generous and giving, and it's something that you don't see in many online spaces anywhere, let alone in crypto these days.
Oh, for sure. I've been to a couple of different ones, and the vibe is just not the same.
Yeah, I think part of it is the size of the market, because it does worry is the wrong word, but I do think that if slash when the CNFT space explodes, we'll lose a lot of that feel when we go from Discord, from projects having, like, sort of like 4 or 5K in their Discord servers, going to 40K, 50K, 100K in the case of some ETH projects or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the beauty of what's going on, is that like other people are contributing in different ways. So I don't know that I see the same ending as you do. Like, I think that there are certain social platforms being built right now that people are really starting to green light, get funds for, things of that nature. Chain lobby even,
Yeah, that's
and
that's what
people are
I'm really
really,
looking forward to, actually.
yeah, like, people are really trying to find alternative ways for Cardano to exist in these bigger areas. I think that there is definitely a case to be made about literally getting rid of Discord entirely.
Oh
And
God,
most
yeah.
projects these days are kind of looking in that direction. Um, so like I can see big projects with 10K followers, 50K followers, really kind of engaging just in a different medium.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. And speaking of all the collaboration efforts and everything like that, what kind of collabs have you been doing and looking at doing with Thugly Ducklings?
Yeah, I could see one of them in the audience right now. What's up, Crime Fighter? Um, I'll talk about that one. I really like. I started, because I'm a marketer, so I really like having visual things and having nice things to present when they're announced. Like part of me is always the outside perspective. Like you can have the greatest idea, but if it's not presented well, it just like people are going to be like, I don't really care, right? So for me, it was really important to kind of like make these nice visuals and market this really really well. And I was like, man, it would be really cool to use music in some of this stuff when I put out announcement videos or anything like that. And then I was like, you know what? It'd be a ton more cooler to just partner with someone who's doing music on Cardano that fits the Thugly Ducklings vibe. And that's kind of where conversations with Crime Fighter happen. Um, I got into a couple of spaces, asked about, like if anyone is knows anyone who does hip hop, and then we got into the Discord with KF Labs, and we just kind of opened up a discussion about being able to use their music so I can use it for promos and stuff, and that's really what the extent of the partnership was about at first. But the beauty of the Thugly Ducklings ecosystem kind of allows for some really, really, really cool functionality between collaborations. And what I mean by that is that, like, there's an area that exists here for Thugly Ducklings where you can send a duck on a mission and earn unique rewards. So right now, those rewards are unique only towards like the ecosystem, like stuff I can give you, for
Yeah,
instance. But like collaborating with other projects here means that you can send a duck on an NFT to earn something unique, like from Crime Fighter. If they've got autographed, signed Rarity NFT album covers, like, if you're a huge fan of their music, you would want to get a duck just so you can send one on a mission to try it and and earn that, try to win that, right? So like, what's been really really pressing for me and what's been really exciting is that I've really enjoyed partnering with projects that aren't just strict NFT collections, but people who are really trying to integrate what they're doing with Web3. Um, so, like for instance, I have a partnership with Meta Jeweler, and he designed our bread token. I really love his work. I don't know if you know who he is. Do you know Meta Jeweler?
I feel like I should do, but it's not ringing any bells.
Um, so he's got a online storefront where he sells NFTs, but he also makes in real life jewelry. And so he's got an NFT collection on his storefront too that offers discounts to in real life jewelry. So that could be just another thing that me and the Meta Jeweler can readdress in conversation and rediscuss in conversation about just like um, exposing his product and his actual use case out there with people part of crypto. You know what I mean? I find those partnerships to be really really interesting. Another example is like Cardano over coffee. They have an actual storefront for buying coffee with Ada, and
Nice.
like the further you can integrate that into other things that people are doing right now with their NFT collections, why wouldn't you do that, right? Because you're essentially helping out another business, to get started in exposure to paying for real life things
Yeah.
with Ada. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want that type of exposure? And that type of community is, in my opinion, really good because it kind of just suggests a more positive environment for exposing other people to crypto.
No, no, I completely agree, and I love everything that you've said about it so far. It's sounding like you really know what you're doing. You got the vision to go ahead and do it, and obviously you've got skills. Otherwise, you wouldn't have got this far at all. And yeah, it's all sounding really good. And I'm just getting disappointed that the mint has been pushed a little bit now.
I was disappointed too, but what's more important is that everyone feels like they have their own affirmations um, for that mint. You know what I mean? People who believe in the project can believe the project, but they still might be skeptical because they see, we got 700 followers on Twitter and that type of thing, and they might be like, I don't know, I meant it, right? And it's like belief in the project. It's like, you want those affirmations. I want to know that it's like, yeah, I'm going to mint this and it's going to be successful and all that stuff. So that's much more important in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one of those things there where you need to at least be able to give the impression that you're going to sell out in a reasonable amount of time. Otherwise, nobody mints, which is a shame because everybody's like, a lot of the market still at the minute is all about flipping. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are collectors, but they are still vastly outnumbered by flippers. So,
So
it's
here's the biggest thing for the project is like because you're 100% right about like flipper mentality or anything like that, but also at the same time, I think it's important for projects to kind of outline for investors or collectors, what they intend to do and when they intend to get that done.
yeah,
Um, Mainly because you do have a flipper mentality. So like for us, because of the simple concept in the gaming ecosystem, like we're just locking assets in a smart contract. You know what I mean? And you're implementing an RNG essentially to say whether or not you're successful or you're unsuccessful. And then you get your asset back. Like it's a simple concept. So we intend to go 48 hours from mint to utility. Maybe not to necessarily curb flipping mentality or any of that type of stuff. I don't really think about that, but it's more so just about knowing what's there and knowing what can be accomplished, and then going ahead and delivering that.
yeah. I mean that's the thing. A lot of projects take the approach of okay, we're going to get our following, we're going to mint our collection, and we're going to start work on the utility. Whereas, when you're as a project, you can say, yeah, okay, we've got our following, we're selling on this day, and then the utility slash game slash whatever you're doing, that's coming 2 days later. That's not something that happens very often at the minute, to say the least.
No, but that's like kind of what it's kind of where I want to build my brand, right? Because essentially, I find that having a 48-hour mint to utility thing is just kind of telling everyone, no, this is accomplishable and this is exactly where we're at. Like, I just, like I've been in the space for a while, so everyone here probably understands, like when I say the word metaverse, you're thinking I'm going to hold this thing for 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean? Like just straight off the bat, any new metaverse that comes in, you're like, if I spend money on it, then I'm going to be waiting, right,
Yeah,
for an incredible amount of time to see if there's any value, and it's highly speculative for yourself, just because the metaverse is a huge undertaking, and like you got to have teams and teams of people, right?
yeah,
You know, like I have a comparison in my head where like you got to get up to rock star level things if you're going to put out something like GTA 5, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
exactly.
got to have, yeah, it's got to have a ton of people. So for me, I'm like, where are the projects that are kind of like in the middle here and just say, this is what Cardano can do right now. Let's go do it and have some fun, right?
Yeah. See, I really want to introduce you to another project. We'll have to talk about it after the AMA, but I think that you'd do very well with looking into bumping uglies.
Bumpin' Uglies. They got the what's the app like that's like I know of Bumpin' Uglies. I'm pretty sure I have one of their NFTs, but I have not.
If you've got 3,000, I'd be surprised if you don't at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, uh, I haven't. I'm not a person that sells many of them, so
Yeah, but
hence
no,
the
they're
3,000.
they're a fun project. They're doing little play to earn things, both for
Yeah.
eventually for non-holders. It's just holders at the minute, but it will eventually expand to non-holders as well. I think in ways and shapes and forms. But it's just the whole let's just get together, have a laugh, have a bit of a giggle, click some buttons, and chill together.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. Love it.
Unfortunately, he supports Liverpool, but other than that, we'll forgive him for that because he's doing a lot of good work. But yeah, I mean, so have you got much else in the way of lined up of future collabs and promos, or is that all stuff that's kind of under wraps for now?
Not at the moment. We don't have anything that's like, oh, this is going to be, something we do. And mostly it's just because of the fact that, like, a lot of these collaborations, these partnerships will end up being certain things that are post mint. So of course, it's very easy for a project to be like, well, let's see how you do first.
Yeah,
So I can understand that approach. It's hard to talk about collaborating and having a partnership without having something to, show them, right? So
yeah. I mean, I think certainly for the more well-known projects, there's issues with working with projects that are unproven, i.e., haven't released yet, just because of implications with art that may turn out to be not as original as you hoped, and a lot of the times where this has happened, it's not even the project owners weren't aware of it, but it's a reputational risk every time that you work with a new project.
sure, sure. So on that note, I would like to take the time to tell everyone I do the art, and I'm the founder of Thugly Ducklings. So um, I hope that none of my stuff is somewhere that like it's like, oh shit, I found that these ducks are you know
Yeah, I
somewhere
mean,
else
at the end
on
of
the
it,
internet.
very few projects are perfect. I mean, Spacebar showed that one when it came out. Came out a
Right.
couple of months ago
We
now.
can rest,
That some of
we
the
can rest on the
artwork
fact
was
that I didn't.
a bit more copied than was hoped.
Right. Yeah.
And again,
I mean,
it's not the team's fault. They were misled by the artist. They've gone and done everything the right way since finding out. But every now and again, shit happens.
yeah. Everyone here can rest on the fact that all of my art was done by myself and it wasn't outsourced. So either I'm a okay artist or I'm a piece of shit, right? So it's only one or the other.
So, going moving on towards the art a little bit more. How many different traits do you have for the 4,444?
So I believe 104. That's what I
That's a good
counted.
amount. Definitely a good amount.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Right now I closed off. I finished the artwork. But you know, uh, if re-engagements of talking about mint date and all that type of stuff, if I decide we want to push it back a good amount, I might, just reopen it back up and add a couple more traits in there, in the downtime, just because. But the best part about the Thugly Ducklings is that like the unique rewards um, is all about stuff that brings you a personal attachment to your PFP. So one of these unique things would be like a different trait, right?
Nice.
So yeah, like we want to keep the policy ID open for like the duration of how long people are playing this game for. Um, but essentially, you know, um, you can have a duck go on a mission, and that mission is fairly difficult because it includes whether or not you are going to win, a unique one of one hand trade, right? Um, and then if you are successful, the ecosystem will, let's say, mint you something that says, hey, bring this and your NFT to so and so, send it to this wallet, and then whatever unique one of one thing you want as a hand trade, I'll make it.
Nice.
And then we'll, remint that, send it out to you, and you've got your own duck with, this cool, unique thing that you're like, nobody else has. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
So, like, we want to be able to have those types of things for people. If you're a big fan of Crime Fighters music and you like are digging the cool ass masks, I'll make one. You can have a duck with that mask on. It's just all about how we layer those certain elements for people.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the different ducklings that you posted on Twitter, and I've come across one that has some animation with it in a GIF. Is that
Yeah.
something that will be appearing in the NFTs, or are they all going to be static images?
So this would have to depend on like what Mint looks like, because I think having an animated NFT is awesome. But I don't do the animations, and they're fairly expensive.
Yeah.
So, so I'm in this mode of like, well, I would love to be able to like do this type of stuff, like to offer it, right? But that really depends. If we sell out, shoot, hell yeah! Like these are going to be things that you're going to be able to earn, off a difficult mission if you're successful or not.
So yeah, I mean, I had a quick play of the visual white paper, and something else I noticed about was if you fail a mission, you get sent to jail.
Yes, sir. So, one of the more fun parts about this is that when you send your NFT, you do incur this risk of losing it for an epic. Um, Essentially, this kind of plays into the whole, supply and demand. If you're one of those people who just collects, NFTs, and you're like, oh, like, we ask people to hold them or something like that, or keep them off of, the marketplace. Any simple concept like that. This is a gamified concept of it, where essentially, if you're interacting with the ecosystem, some missions might be too difficult, right? Some missions you might not be good at, and you end up in jail for 5 days. And after that, we'll send your NFT back. But the best part about doing those certain things is that you can layer in these custom elements to have a personally tailored, unique experience for you, and also they're fun as shit. So let me explain. If your duck is unsuccessful and it goes to prison, all of those ducks will be displayed, and everyone in the community will be able to see what ducks are currently incarcerated. And then when you click on that duck, you're going to be able to see what they were charged for, and then an officer statement, kind of talking about, how they got into this certain conflict or how they got caught, essentially. So the one example that I have here in the visual white paper is the officer says, found invoices in his jacket pocket. When asked, the duck said, how did those get there? Like they're just small, simple things, and I intend to make a crap ton of those sentences, so that everything feels more personally tailored and more unique in your experience. Like your duck got caught and he's incarcerated, and like his officer statement is different from somebody else's officer statement, right? And their
Yeah.
reason to, like, all of those things are going to be fun, just small little things that keep you interested. And then of course we want to be able to have like the community, send letters and
You
and
see,
write
that's
stuff.
exactly where I was going with the next question. Is like, can the community get involved in writing these different sentences, and sending letters, and maybe even sending them in ADA so they can buy their noodles from the prison shop and stuff. And
I haven't thought of anything as far as like buying things while you're currently incarcerated, like extra cigarettes to bum off of.
you know what I
But
mean?
yeah, I mean it's a great concept to expound upon for sure, especially if it works. But right now I'm thinking, like these are fun, small little details that the community should be able to read and be a part of themselves.
Yeah,
Because that's
for sure.
exactly what makes it really, really fun for everyone. You know what I mean? Like it's cool if I can see the officer statement and go, "Oh wow, that's really fun," and I laugh at myself while no one is in the room, and it's like that was just for me, and it feels cute, right? But then like, if other people can also see it, and then underneath, I can write a comment just like, any social media platform and be like,
Yeah.
LOL, maybe you should stop using invoices to sell your shit. Like, now all of a sudden it's fun because like someone else is taking part in seeing what else is, somebody else's fate inside of the Thugly Ducklings ecosystem, right?
So, will traits have any effect on the likelihood of a mission being completed or failed?
Sure. We'll have certain things, and I think I stated this in the black paper, but essentially for traits, rarity is not going to be important unless you're an NFT collector. Like, if you like the fact that your trait, like is rarer than others, that's great for you. As far as the Thugly Ducklings ecosystem, it's not like you're not going to get things that are better than others based on rarity. You might get things or get boosted for certain things based on specificity, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like if you've
yeah,
got,
yeah.
let's say that guns are, like the Uzi hand trait is one of the more common ones because everyone likes the guns or whatever. And there's a mission that says you got to fight for territory. We might give you a boost because your NFT has an Uzi, right? So something that's more tied to the specific elements of your NFT, but not necessarily based on the rarity, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, yeah. That's definitely cool.
That way, you kind of enjoy both sides, in my opinion. That's where I see it. Is that like like now I'm not going to be hoarding things because of how it how it affects me in the game, but if I want it because other people don't have it, like it's a different premise, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure. But like you're catering to different areas of the market rather than relying on one actually narrower than it appears segment.
Precisely.
Ooh, sorry about that. So how long do you expect to be supporting the game for? Is it something that you can see going for years, or is it something that you're going to run for 6 months and then come up with another idea?
Well, I hope it has longevity. I feel like I built it in a way that has longevity. And the reason why I say that is this. I am a huge gamer, or at least I should say I was until I had two
Yeah,
kids.
none of
I'm
us
no
have
longer
got time for that anymore, especially since NFTs.
right. Right, exactly. And it's like now I no longer have time to game as much as I used to, and I gave it all up and got a Switch and a family console, and now I just am sad, right? So, like, the reality is, uh, like, as a gamer, for me personally, what I really enjoyed most was the end game of games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
You
What?
know,
Sorry
if I
to
could,
butt in. What games were you into that you're taking inspiration from?
yeah, so I was very big on GTA. I was very big on Destiny, and I am ashamed of saying that. The
Eh,
Division at one point I was so addicted to. Black Ops I was very addicted to as well. I just really enjoyed the end game of those games. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
second I went
totally.
out the second I went out and bought Black Ops, I went online, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
you immediately take it, and you're like, all right, where are my buddies at? Let's play.
yeah,
And then you're earning these things and showing them how cool you got all this shit, right? Like, so for me, I was always really more obsessed with the end game of things. So that's kind of how I want the Thugly Ducklings ecosystem to operate as well. So when you're talking about longevity, when you're talking about how long do I want people to play, I want them to be playing in the end game so that way they don't know what to expect. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And by that you can kind of control how things go. A perfect example of this is we want to be able to have tons of use cases for the in-game currency. So we want to use bread in a lot of different things for the Thugly Ducklings ecosystem. So we want to use bread to be able to boost your mission time frame. So if you're a person who's just impatient, you might want to use bread just so you can get your duck back at a quicker,
yeah,
interval. If you are a person that gets scared about incarceration, you might want to boost your mission with bread, just boost the probability and the success rate. You can play that way. I want to be able to use bread as the in-game currency to be able to buy other ducks off a secondary. But there's obviously a math to that, right? So like the thought is if the project gets really successful and ducks are like 400 ADA, you know what I mean? It requires me to come back and have a little bit of levity, right? So in some of
Yeah.
these end games, or I should say, with like Elder Scrolls Online was another one that I played often. Um,
Okay.
every week, right? Every week you'd have new things pop up on the storefront and on the marketplace. New discounts, right? Things that were seasonal, things that were thematic. That's where my approach is, where essentially, um, like ducks might be 20% off with bread this week, right? Because you know that like if people have it, they're going to use it, and they're if they want to go buy a duck off a secondary and they've been interacting with the ecosystem, now's a great time to do it, right?
Yeah.
So like for me to keep the value high, to keep people really interested in the project, is having the project operate in the end game, kind of the same way that some projects do pre-mint, right? They
Yeah.
keep you interested because like you're like, what's going on? What other things are you guys doing? What's this? Until they keep you in the dark, right? So it's the same thing, just on the post-mint side of things, which I think more projects should probably adopt, but that's my own opinion. Of like let things function in the end game. That way, you can provide value and rewards to people that do make sense in the point in time, and you can then change that when things change, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, like, a well functioning and well updated endgame will provide years and years and years of entertainment. I mean, sort of like we were talking about gaming earlier. I played Everquest for 15 years.
Okay.
I did take a couple of years off, but for the, the the vast majority of that, I was playing either at or close to the end game. And obviously, expansions every 6 months or yearly, and
Right.
then back to 6 months, everything like that. But it was a constantly evolving space, and there was always plenty of things to do. I mean, some of them sucked hardcore, don't get me wrong, but there was always things to be done, and if you weren't helping yourself, you were helping the community. And the EverQuest community especially was always very good at helping people out. If somebody needed help getting to somewhere, or killing this, that, or the other, all somebody had to do was ask in the chat, say, yeah, need some help getting together a bunch of people to go do this, and then all of a sudden, there'd be either 6 people if that's what you needed, or if you needed 50 people, all of a sudden there'd be 50 people all saying, yeah, let's go, let's go sort it. And that community, I mean, it's still there and going strong now, obviously, like 23 years later, whatever it is now.
Sure. And then, you know what? That's actually a perfect point, because, like, you've got games now where people buy it and the interest remains high for about 2 years, and then an expansion pack comes out, right? Like where, it offers something for other people to do and then keep the interest in the same game that they're playing, right? So, like,
Yeah,
this is kind of where Thugly Ducklings, it's like you could have a ton of these different things, whether it's seasonal, like, and you've got, these seasonal missions that are, like you can take place to win seasonal, unique, one of one traits, things that, other people won't have for, a whole year coming in the
yeah.
next year. Yeah, like, so it offers a real unique experience for people who want to find value in their NFTs.
So, will there be opportunities for multiplayer missions, or is it generally going to be focused on single player?
So I'm currently working on a concept, but it needs more fleshing out, because so in this regard, we want to do something like a jailbreak concept for the incarcerated ducks, and kind of do a ADA reward pot, right? Let's say, like, you've got 25 ducks that are incarcerated, and each duck that's in there is like 20 ADA, right? So the pot gets to a certain point, and like everyone who puts their duck in a pool, and then they all get sent in a smart contract. Like the hard part is figuring out how it can be done developmentally speaking. So like those things, I'm a big idea person and a big brain person. I'm not a developer, so
Yeah.
it's all about me getting back to the team and figuring out whether or not that is possible and what is the easiest and best approach to do it, and obviously time frame and things like that. So I'm sure that it's something that is possible, and we'll make it in our own way, but definitely not a thing that we're thinking about currently. If there was anything that seems similar to that, it's kind of like project collaborations where you might send a duck on a mission, and your wallet would also need to verify that you hold another policy ID. But that's not necessarily multiplayer. That's more like you having two NFTs.
Yeah. So, how many people are on your development team then?
I am partnered with Ada Anvil, or Anvil by the Forge. Those
Nice.
guys are going to be taking care of our minting, and they're also going to be doing the back end development for the game.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean they're an incredibly strong team. Um, their name comes up so often. I wonder how they manage to keep up with everything. To be honest, because they are definitely the hot stuff right now.
I wonder the same thing. I'm
I mean,
always like, do
I'm
you
sure
guys
it's a combination of Red Bull and speed, but
probably?
I'm sure they'll love me telling the world that they're probably on speed, but like the amount of
I'm
work
sure.
those guys do, and like every mint that I've done with Anvil has been absolutely flawless, like
Yeah,
just flawless.
that's what a lot of people say for sure. And I'm excited to be working with them. Mainly because like these are what's really important for me. Like as an NFT collector, I always wanted to know, when there was a project that had a game or a gamified thing, I would want to know how much money it's going to take, and then who they're outsourcing their development to, right?
Yeah,
Because those things were super important to me. Because I'm like, if you're going to hand it off to some dude I don't know, I might feel differently about minting NFTs, right?
yeah,
um, that's just natural. You hand some dude 300,000 ADA, and we've never heard of him, and he's supposed to build this awesome game. He might just cut and run, and the
yeah.
whole
I
thing.
mean, there's it's not even a case of somebody cutting and running. Sometimes, like real life stuff can happen. There's the more you outsource, the more potential issues there can be down the line.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm really excited to be working with them. Yeah.
So let's give a shout out to your Discord mods. Who are they, and how did you meet them?
Hell yeah. So Crypto Kev's probably my biggest Discord mod. Um, I met him through the Wild Tanks server,
Nice.
which, by the way, is a thing that I feel like most people should be doing with their servers just because. Because, like, I am tired of getting DMs from people that I seriously do not know. Like, asking to be a mod in my server, and we've got one mutual server, and it's the one they joined less than 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I mean, we get like probably I've had days where I've had like double figures of them on the same day.
It is not, yeah, it's just not like. Wild Tanks had a channel up that was basically like job postings, and I was like, oh, this is a really nice, like a nice way to get the community to like ask questions of each other, and
Yeah,
it's a good way to meet people who are actually like doing things in the community as well. That way, I feel less like like I'm talking to someone who just wants to grift me out of some money,
yeah,
or try to take over my Discord at some point. And so I met him through the Wild Tank server, and he's been great. Udit and
yeah,
Ken, they're also guys have been around the space. J. Ivan Baker, he's also with like What the Duck and those
yeah.
guys and what they're doing. So like and then I also have Ace Aeschylus. God, I don't know how to say his name.
Let me switch over to you. It's
He's
not a
gonna
name
hate
I
me.
immediately recognise. I think I recognise just about every other name that you mentioned, other than that
So
one.
he's a crypto dino mod. That's kind of where I had met him originally.
Okay.
But like he's been very vocal in the space, and I really enjoy having him around as well. Um, but yeah, so the whole team in and of itself has a very good reputation behind them, and that was something that was really important to me, was just having people around that at least knew what they were doing, and knew what kind of experience that they had, and that was like important in just building out a team, right? So
Yeah. No, I mean, like you've like I mentioned before, I think you've done very well putting everything together, and the community is definitely responding and turning up and saying that they want to get involved. Um, this is as much as I'm literally running out of space for new servers every single flipping day. This is one that I'm not going to be leaving, and I will be badgering you for a whitelist at some point.
hell yeah, badger away.
Speaking of
uh,
whitelists, actually, we do have a draw to get done, don't we?
yes, we do.
We do. You gave away 5 whitelist spots to the Toolhead community. We currently have 374 entrants, and it closed, well, allegedly closed a couple of hours ago. But I'm ready to hit the button to see the lucky 5.
All right. Am I somebody who gets to see them in my Discords? I am not very Discord literate.
So this will post in the Thugly Ducklings giveaway channel on cnft.tools server. If you scroll down, are you a tool head?
Um,
And
I
if not,
don't
why
know.
not?
I
Like, really,
might
why
be.
not at this point? Right, let's have a quick look at your profile. Oh, because I'm on streamer mode, I can't look at your roles. That's annoying.
I was gonna say, if it's about how long I've been in the server, then maybe.
No, yes, you are a tool head. So yeah, if you
Yay!
scroll down a little bit, you'll see the Toolhead giveaways. We have a few for different projects there, but we have
Oh,
Thugly
wonderful,
Ducklings.
beautiful. Wow.
So I will hit the button, and hopefully within about 30 seconds, we'll have some winners for you. It does take a minute, unfortunately.
No way. You said 30 seconds.
I say, I mean, that bot I asked you to install. I try it again. Sometimes it just craps out for no apparent reason. Yeah, it's taking a bit longer. It should be working now. Dun dun dun. I feel like I need some kind of like drum roll going there.
Can anyone hear this?
I could hear you say, "Can anyone hear this?" But I didn't hear anything else.
That was it. Oh man.
But yeah, it's definitely taking a suitable amount of time to be doing a draw. There we go. There it is posted. So congratulations to Slapacious, Big Bang Game Theory, Conan77, Rob BLN, and Poochie, which is actually a
Nice.
great little duck name. That actually, Poochie. I like that.
I'm actually gonna ask Big Bang Game Theory if he wants to give away his whitelist because he's already in the server, and he
Oh.
is an advisor of mine
Oh.
because he's actually my dad.
Well, that should be a fairly easy conversation to have at least. You're like, no, I want 2 whitelist spots, damn
I
it.
know he's gonna be like, no.
Double bubble for me, baby.
I'd be like, come on, support other people.
I mean, he's
Like,
definitely being supportive if he's coming over and joining in the giveaways and everything like that.
I know how
I'm
cute
sure
it
he was
is.
one of the people that upvoted on the calendar before we had to move it into rest mode for a while.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's so. How did you get your dad into NFTs then?
Because I told him how much money I made off of NFTs.
I mean,
So
that's a
like
pretty effective way of doing it, to be fair.
honestly, it was one of those things where I was like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, and I told him this like because back during the bull market and when things were just absolutely nuts. And here's a great story for anyone who doesn't know. One of my claims to fame in the Cardano NFT space was selling a Charles Hoskinson cryptophage for 15,000 ADA.
Jesus.
And it was like everyone was like, no, that's got to be fake. And I was like, yeah, maybe. But there's 15,000 ADA in my wallet. I don't know who bought it.
Yeah, don't really care at
It
this
was
point.
right. It was one of those things where I was like, doesn't concern me if you think it's fake or not. But it was one of those things where, um, when I was telling I don't know, I was telling my dad that I was just, messing around with crypto and, I had put in a loan on Cardano and then I got really excited about their NFTs and that really just propelled me to like 6-digit numbers. And that was, basically all my dad needed to hear. Before he was like, what the heck are you doing? And like, why am I not doing it?
You
And
see,
I
that's
was like,
refreshing because when I mention to people, they're like, "But yeah, that. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. Like, it's going to rug pull. Like, because that's all they hear about is this project's rug pulled or that project's gone down or that coin was a scam or whatever. They don't hear about the little things and like the better things and the success stories because obviously bad news travels a lot faster than good news.
yeah, but like any of those conversations is wild to me, just because like you're trading with a very very fungible dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, so like when you talk about these certain things, it's like I could show you my success stories just as well as anybody else can with their U.S. dollar, right? So like, what are we sitting here talking about? Uh, the best part about it though is knowing that like my dad's like 60 years old and you know messing around with NFTs is just it never like out of context conversations where there are other people around and we're sitting here talking about like something like happy hoppers. It's like no one else is going to have any idea what this conversation's about and it is hilarious,
so,
especially someone at his age.
so what was the first NFT you got him to mint then?
That I got him to mint.
Yeah.
uh, I don't even remember. It must have been sometime back in like September, and I don't even know that I ever pushed him to mint anything. Because one thing that was really important to me was constantly telling him that I lose too sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I make bad decisions sometimes, and like I don't want you to be influenced by how my decisions get made. And it's like I could have gotten lucky like anybody else. You know what I mean? Like a perfect example is that like I minted Clay Nations, and I'm still sitting here like wishing that I minted more.
Tell
Like
me about it. I
wishing that.
didn't. I didn't. I see. I passed on Space Buds. I passed on Clay Nation. I passed on Yummies. Like all the big ones. I was like, not really quite my thing. There's other things around that I prefer to have, so I'll just get them instead. And I'm
Yeah,
still holding all those. Don't get me wrong. I just I'd quite like to have had some of the Ada wins as well.
sure. Yeah, like there were projects that like I definitely sold too early on that I wish I'm still holding to, today. And there are some burning a hole in my burner wallet as well. So like, both sides of the aisle, right?
For
Those
sure. For
things are,
sure.
but yeah. So like for me, it was really important not to tell him what to do because I was like, this is your own experience, and I don't want you like dumping all your money and then being like, my son sucks because I lost all of it.
But yeah, I mean, it's also good that he's joined this space and he's doing his own research. He's learning things on his own, and he's making his own connections on top as well. Because, I mean, as much as Cardano is absolutely awesome, like the networking just from joining in with even like two or three projects, if that's all somebody wants to get into, the network effect that you get from just being in two or three servers with a few different people is absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. One of the best parts about the Cardano community is just who you network with, and like who you are spending a lot of your time with, and who you're active with. I've met a lot of people through Discords, and like I'm over like 100 at this point, and like I just try to pop into some of the different Discords that I really enjoy just to say hi. Just constantly, even if I'm not there to have a conversation, I'll be like, hey, good morning, any of that stuff, just because like everyone is really, really inviting and really, really encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, you're doing a great job with it. I think I had a quick look at some of the servers that we share, and a lot of them brought a smile to my face. Actually, I have to say.
Oh no, no, I gotta look. Are they all bad?
No,
I'm
no,
scared.
no. They're definitely not bad. They're definitely on the right side of good here.
I
Actually,
was just gonna say, I don't know that I could even tell you because like most of them, I'm probably not in those servers anymore. So I can save face that way.
I mean, I'll name my favourites that we're both in. Adenauts, love that
Yeah,
project. Hash Guardians, a bit of an OG one there.
yeah,
Much love for Hash Guardians. Ada Digis and Chain Lobby. I
yes.
do have a bunch of Ada Digis myself, and they're staying
How
very
many do you
firmly
have?
in my wallet for
How many do you
for
have?
years and years and years. Future
How
Fest are a
many?
good crowd as well, actually. You see
ToolSin,
that,
how
that
many
that's one
data
that
did
I
you?
expect to blow up at some point in the future. It may not be for a while, but definitely one that'll blow up in the future.
Are you just ignoring this question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that one. What was it?
I was trying to say, how many ADA digits do you have?
Oh, I'd have to look now. Let's have a quick look. I've got like one season one. I've got a couple of season two. I think I'm somehow missing season. Oh no, no, sorry. I've got a couple of season three. I think it's season two I'm missing. I've got season one. I've got a dozen season four, maybe.
Yeah, I got like 40 of season four and none of the earlier seasons. I'm so
Ah,
disappointed.
yeah, yeah. I've got nine season four, including one AR one, which is quite sweet.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I was very happy to get one of those AR ones. Yeah, I've got a Hugh the Hipster from season one, and I've got a couple of season three. But yeah, love those guys. First met one of the Dans when he was working for Artifact, actually. And I did
Oh,
some consumer focus groups with him and stuff like that. So I had like a good chat to him for about an hour, actually.
oh,
Sort of
that's
like
really
stuff
cool.
related for Artifact. This was, I'm going to say, it was like November last year, around that sort of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, love those guys a lot. And Maynard as well was absolutely great bloke.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just in their space yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get myself over there more often, to be honest. But I mean, like, I'm now working a Fiat job as well, and all the stuff with tools. It leaves me very little time for the projects that I like, actually.
Oh, dude, I hear you. Oh, actually, I did want to touch on this just about as a project thing. Um, I'm also a big proponent of having a gamified concept where the in-game currency is just an in-game currency. That's
Yeah,
kind of where I want to leave everything and do nothing with. You know how like a lot of projects have their tokenomics and these things are out, and it's all about supply and demand and drawing value to their currency and the native token and all that other stuff. And for me, it's like, no, this is a game, and it's a
yeah,
gamified concept, and you're going to earn bread, and you're going to be able to use bread. But like whatever its value is out on the open market is for you to decide 100%. Like meaning that like this was one of the things for me as a gamer I really wanted, but didn't know exactly how to express that in a crypto friendly way or an NFT friendly way, which is, like if I, spent a crap ton of time in GTA and made $1 million, I'd want to be able to sell that because someone might just be looking to have that million right then and there to continue
yeah,
interacting with the ecosystem. You know what I mean? That's your prerogative if you choose to play that way. I wanted to make sure that the tokenomics are simple.
yeah,
I wanted to make sure that everyone kind of understands that, like The reason why this works and the reason why it's effective is that everyone plays in the end game. So at the end of the day, this week it might cost 1,000 bread, 5,000 bread in order to buy a duck off a secondary, or anything of that nature, right? So as long as people are using the ecosystem and interacting with the ecosystem, there's always going to be value somewhere for it, right? But I didn't want to get into like having an LBE or a bootstrapping event on MinSwap or anything of that
Oh
nature.
yeah. Oh, this is the thing. It's okay for a game to be a game. Like it's nice, for the play to earn crowd, and no doubt I'll enjoy playing some of those games when they get released. It's
Oh,
I look at it kind of like I played poker for a living for a while, and I really enjoy it. It's fun, it's engaging. It ticks all the right boxes, but when you're doing it, it's a very different experience to play for fun than it is to play for money.
sure.
And
And
like
that's kind of the fear, is that like I don't want people to be thinking this is a game where you're grinding away because you're trying to earn money, because like let's say bread on the open market is like 1 ADA, and so you're trying to get this so that you can immediately take it over to MinSwap so you can swap it. Like, if you're interacting with the system, you'll know that it has its own value, and we'll determine what that is, right? Like, but on the open market, if other people want to buy it, it has its own value there as well. The difference is it's just an in-game currency, and it helps us function properly.
so, with all that, you'll be having your own in-game store and interface, I assume. Then, yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to be able to have certain things with, especially with like project collaborations. I feel like it opens up it just opens up many more like possibilities. Like if other projects want to collaborate and they want to give away their token, or like if other projects want to collaborate in a certain way, that we can make these really cool story missions or co-missions, right? Like something where you can do something really fun and interactive that earns you something different. Like I wanted to do project collaboration with, like, let's say like Wild Tanks, right? And then you can earn a unique reward for me drawing a Tangs trait on your duck, right? Something that just kind of blends the two projects, something unique for yourself.
Yeah.
So there's just a ton of different ways to get that with having a storefront. Like if you were not able to do a certain mission, but you do hold a lot of bread, you might still want that, right? In the same way that like you might want to boost your probability, your success rate to get something that might be really juicy for you. Like there's going to be ways to do that. So I like the idea of having an open-ended project that provides value to different people entirely, where it's not like this is the flat thing, this is what we're doing, it's concrete, it's cement, and people will interpret its value differently. This is an always changing thing, and the value will change depending on who's more excited about that thing, and those things will change at any point, right? So
Yeah. So, what kind of times are we looking at between sending your duck on a mission and then finding out whether that mission has been completed or if he's been caught and incarcerated?
so we're depending on the mission, depending on what the reward is for the mission, and what we make up there. We're thinking missions are going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 days,
Okay.
and then in between those times of those missions, um, I'll put together sentences for your mission. So I don't know if you saw this in the visual white paper, but I like to have that unique personal style that makes it fun for everyone else. So like while the officer statements are something for everyone else to view, the um, there will come sentences while your duck is on a mission, and you'll have let's say you're on a 3 day mission, and I'll break that down into 3 different days. And so every day, if you want to come back and take a look at what your duck is doing, you'll have a different sentence for each of those days. And that's just to have its own uniquely, personally, like tailored experience for yourself. And if you wanted to like keep record of it, keep track of it, and just tell everyone what what your duck had done on this mission, just for shits and giggles, like those, that's going to be available to everyone as well.
Yeah, Duck Diaries for the win.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that being said, I mean, it's would that be something you'd actually be able to implement, where you'd be able to have a history, you'd be able to look back and see the history of what that duck's achieved and what it's, maybe tried and failed, and it's failed this mission, but it's done this mission, that mission. That's where it got this trait. That's where it got that trait, and stuff like that.
Um, I so to speak on what you're specifically saying, some of those things haven't been talked about, but a lot of what you're saying has. In our black paper, there is a thing called rap sheets. Just because you can track the metadata, of your NFT, we will be able to know like what like what missions your duck has been on, and like how many times they've been incarcerated, and you can have that history, and anyone should be able to to look at your duck's criminal history, and you can kind of make up your own mind here and have your ducks have your own story. Where if you have a duck, let's say let's say you have a duck who just is terrible at missions, right? And he just is just whatever it is, 90% success rate on a mission, and he just never is successful.
Yeah.
Like, you just suck at RNG. I don't know. Like, he's just terrible, right? If that's the case, they might broadcast it. I might tell the community. You know what I mean? I might screenshot it and be like, guys, this is the 4th time I've been incarcerated, and I can't seem to get a stinking mission to work, right? Like, and maybe the community takes an approach on it, right? They love it. They think it's hilarious that this duck is just terrible. And then let's say I finally get a unique reward, and I get to name him. So I'm going to call him Jeff. And my duck's name is Jeff now. He has a new name. That's something that he always has, but he's still terrible. Now everyone in the community knows Jeff the duck is terrible, and he might end up on secondary, and he might have its own intrinsic value aside from the floor price, just because everyone knows who Jeff the duck is, right? So there are going to be elements here that get layered in that are very, very social and community centric, that offer you a different value intrinsically and a personal attachment to your PFP as well.
Nice. So, I mean, I don't know how far you've got with this, but if you are able to track these achievements through metadata and everything like that, that's something that, with a little bit of work with Legion of Brad and PRZ's CNTN, or however you want to say it, we'd be able to track all that and be able to show that on cnfd.tools and have that updated as they happen as well.
That would be hilarious.
It's precisely what we do anyway, to be honest. When a project releases its drop, we just track the metadata, and then we process everything live. So if there's 100 ducks out now, then this is number one. But as more ducks get minted, all the ranks change and everything like that. We do that on a permanent basis for quite a few projects now. So when they change their metadata for any reason, then it's updated with its new rankings and new metadata, everything like that, within about 15 minutes.
Right. So I mean, like, for me, this is exactly a great point that you brought up. Like, what I really want the Thugly Ducklings project to be about is caring about the ecosystem and caring about what's happening, what's going on. So having those live updates and say, you have a Discord bot integrated into the Discord server. So people would be in there all the time just looking, just because they want to, just because it's fun, right? And then you've got an entire community just talking about what's being done over in the Thugly Duckling system that you want to be a part of, This is what I feel like more NFT should be about. Because it provides that value in different ways for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, sort of like with a lot of this stuff, it's all about getting the information that the community rallies around and presenting it in a way that makes sense to them and allows them to share it and talk about it and discuss it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a couple of interesting conversations in the future for you with the tools team, I'm sure.
My DMs are always open, unless of course you only have one mutual server with me.
Yeah, it's funny how it's usually the same server as well. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
call out the particular server I have in mind, but it's kind of an old school server actually that I get the most from. I'm not going to call it out, and quite honestly, I should just leave it because it has no use anyway. But yeah, it's one server in particular that pops up way too often on those guys.
You shoot me a DM so I know.
Yeah, I will do. I will do later. Though, funnily enough, I don't know if you remember about an hour and a half ago, I was saying, yeah, I'm a bit tired. I'm still getting over like heat stroke, everything like that. And you were like, yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry, no one's going to want to talk to me for 2 hours about my project. And here we are, like 90 minutes later, going strong.
Yeah, actually, funny that you said that because I do have to wrap up in 7 minutes from now because I have a dev meeting call. So
That's a pretty good reason to wrap it up. To be fair.
that's fair.
But yeah, I
Um,
mean, like, sort of like I suspected I was going to enjoy this AMA. I did not expect to enjoy it this much.
Hell yeah,
Like, it's
man.
been an absolute blast, and I
I
pretty much love everything that you're doing, and the approach that you're taking with it.
love talking about project details. I'm not a person that really enjoys shilling for a half hour like without having questions because to me, like I said, I'm an improv comedian by nature, so I feed off reactions.
Yeah, no, I
And
get that. I get that.
like the longer I speak with nothing, I'm like, man, do y'all even care?
Yeah, I mean, like usually I'm saying, stick your questions in NFT chat, and I'll make sure the whoever gets the chance to answer them.
Right.
And if you do have any questions for the people that are here, feel free to fire them into NFT chat now. If we're going to be wrapping up fairly soon, I do apologise. I just enjoyed this chat way too much, to be honest. Didn't even realise quite how fast time was going. Oh, oh, somebody's saying some very nice things to me. Thank you, Sol. Your support is hugely appreciated. Like, thank you very much. And you've got a British guy blushing. I'm not going to read it out because that would just be that there's a word for it, and it's not it's not a word I'd want to be associated with. But yeah, like, thank you very much for your kind words. It does mean a lot. But yeah, so if you're somebody that wasn't able to listen to this AMA live and you're listening to it back on YouTube, feel free to give it a like and a share. Make sure you send it to anyone else that has a sense of humour and just like enjoys having a bit of fun. Um, Family friendly, most of it, I think. Very certainly team friendly. Plus, I'd say.
It depends on how you parent your family.
Oh dear. Yeah, as long as we don't get invaded by 7-year-olds, we're all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, like, thank you very much for turning up and for having this conversation with me. And a huge thank you to all the fans and everyone that's tuned in to listen. Like your support is massively appreciated and is why we do it.
ToolSin, thank you so much for just giving me a platform. Um, the amount of work that you're doing, giving a shedding a light to other projects. I think more recognition needs, for names like yours and other guys giving, Twitter spaces and things like that. Like Cardano community is fantastic in just, supporting other projects out there and making sure that like everyone can see them. Everyone's kind of finding their own way in the space right now, and it's really enjoyable to see how people are making the ecosystem of Cardano into something that's, like more palatable for everyone else. So, just want to thank you for doing that and doing this AMA for us.
I mean, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll definitely have to have you back on when you're a little bit closer to mint again. We are branching out into some other bits and pieces as well. There's going to be some more active stuff on Twitter with Twitter Spaces and competitions and giveaways. I'm sure that you'll find a place there for sure. And
Hell yeah.
yeah, I look forward to bumping into you very soon in the Thugly Ducklings chat. Even if I'm just popping in and say hello, love what you're doing, and then I don't come back for a week.
I would appreciate it just so I can, spam gifts for you to come back.
Oh, hell yeah. Gotta love a GIF.
All right, Toulson. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you again to everyone who turned up to listen. Make sure you give everything a like and a share. Tell everybody about the project, and we'll see you all soon.